Hey everybody, it's Kate Richburg and welcome to Free Tip Friday. Sorry I'm a little late. I had to reconnect my camera. I had to play my IT hat there for a moment, but let me see, my hair is also doing something weird. Let me fix that. Okay, I'm ready. I hope you're ready. Janice is over on YouTube saying hello over there, and Geeta is over on Facebook saying hello over there. And we have so many people on to check out this mix. So there's some good news and some bad news, right? Um, you loved the mix so much that it sold out already. So sorry about that. Sorry. Um, I love it. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to talk to you about the December mix, which is sitting here somewhere. I put it right here a second ago. I'm going to talk to you about that. Then, kids, stay tuned because we may have a few more to add without the button in a couple of weeks. So just hang tight. But I'm also going to show you there's a lot of ways that you can work with this project. Okay, so let's get started and take a look at the mix. Before I get to that, though, let me remind all of you all that you can find all of beadshop.com right on our social media. We would love to have you join us over on our Instagram at beadshop.com. And if you make anything with Beadshop products or projects and you want to give us a tag over on Instagram, we'd love to add you to our Instagram stories. Do give us a follow over there because there's a lot of cool stuff that pops up. Drea adds those to the stories and you all have been making such really beautiful things. Also, join us at the Bead Table, our Facebook group. Almost 8,000 beaders over there going strong. And of course, if you are watching on YouTube, either live or on the replay, thank you so much for joining us over there. You can hit that like and subscribe and notification button so you will always be notified when we upload or go live. And don't forget, you can find all of the information on the project and the products from today's broadcast right on our website. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter because starting on next week is our kind of Thanksgiving sales and some special what do I want to say, mixes and stuff that are going to be launching. So don't forget to get that newsletter under your belt. So let's go ahead and take a look at my board here. I'm just double checking to see that everyone's here. Good, everyone's here. It's great to have you. Oh, thanks, my earrings. Let me show you. These earrings are made by my friend Allison. She is a really great wire worker. Aren't those beautiful? I did not make these, but she did, and I love them so much. I am gearing up to do some more wire work with you all, and Emily has some wire working projects that she's going to share as well. So thank you for noticing. I love them. So here's the mix. I've called it Moonlight Sonata, and I kind of made this on a whim. And I made it a while back. I got this cute little check glass button with this rhinestone in the center. This is a 13 millimeter button right here. And there were a limited amount of these buttons. So I think it's 13, yeah, a little over 13 millimeters. And you can see the shank is a glass button shank on the back. Right? So this is great for a little wrap. Like you could do a super simple little wrap bracelet with this for sure. They're the 0's, right? So like I did this bracelet. You remember this is one of my I think my shimmer kit that I did or mix that I did a while back, right? And I just did a really simple laddering with this. Well, this is kind of in that same colorway that also has kind of a small button. So this would be great to do a really simple ladder bracelet. This one wraps double. I was super enamored of these beads. Those of you who got it and made it know that these beads were a little teeny tiny, but the result really is striking. So these beads would make a great simple wrap with just those. I think it would look nice with that metallic teal. Here's metallic teal sitting right here. It would be nice. But I was also thinking about like something you could do that's a fast, simple project, something that's also really satisfying. And I've had these beads, these Peyote Stitch beads, on my table, and I've been thinking about Peyote Stitch because we're going to be adding some size 15s after the new year. So you could make super tiny little beads, and there's lots of things. And I also was thinking about these pieces here that Emily made. This is with those cubes, those cut cubes, hematite cut cubes, but you could also use the shadows for this, right? And this was the Peyote Stitch bead with 11-aughts. I also have a pile of 11-aught beads here. These were made by my friend Sharon Walcott. Sharon, who's part of the bead table, and she watches our broadcasts and she comes to our retreats. Well, for the retreat, I put out like this big box where people can take beads, put beads. And so she made these as her practice beads to get the hang of it, to get the tension right, all of that. And she put them in the box to share. So I was like, oh, perfect. So you can see this Peyote Stitch bead is done in an 11-aught, all one color, two colors in the 11-aughts, and then she did these down here in delicas. They also work really great in the 8-aughts. So I thought I would do a quick Peyote Stitch bead with these because they're so satisfying and they're a really fast make. And you can make them, if you miss the mix, I'm sorry, when we launch those mixes, they go kind of fast, but we've got some other stuff coming down the pike, so don't sweat it. And these are the 8Cs. They're 8-aughts, but they're cuts. Okay, can you see that there? The cuts are, gotta get this to focus. There we go. They're an 8-aught bead. They're kind of like a tube, like a delica, but they're faceted. They're cut. They have 6 sides, right? So they really, that little bit of a cut adds some really cool stuff to it, some cool shimmer and stuff to it. Also, I'm going to give you a sneak peek. This is the December mix. Holly Jolly, I've called it. It's going to launch on December 1st, so I'm giving you a big preview of it. But it's also all C's. Can you see that? So we'll be adding some new 8 cuts to our lineup. We do carry some, but we're adding some new ones. So I just love them, and I kind of forget about them until I realize, oh, cut beads, I love them. So this is coming up. So you want to grab that monthly mix because it's going to launch on December 1st. It's going to be limited, but as all monthly mixes are. But the colors I think are gorge. But anyway, so that's what's going on with this. Okay. Someone asked about the name of this. I think this was a little kit that I did, and it came in the blue and it came in the gold bronze color. These were called sleek shimmer bracelets, I think. Basically, and you can find the broadcast I did. You can use any thread. You can use KO to ladder. I used silk with needle to ladder with this one, just to switch it up. And I used a 1 millimeter leather here for this with this snake knot right here, or the at the beginning and at the end. Okay, so that's what's up with that one. So let me show you. We've done peyote stitch beads before, but you know, I'm in the mood for something that's easy, right? I had a little bit of COVID rebound this week, but I'm fine. But you know how sometimes, I don't know, I hadn't had, this is my first dance with COVID, so I didn't really know how it was going to go. But now I'm fine again. But you get a little bit of an energy dip. I don't know if you've experienced that, if you've experienced COVID. Thankfully, I was fully vaccinated. Um, so my symptoms and everything were light. And I didn't pass it on to anyone in my household, which was good. But it gets a little fatiguing. So I thought, in light of wanting a project, you know, I'm doing this with gray KO on a gray background. I'm going to switch this up. You can't see the thread at all. So let me change that up. Let me do that. But I was wanting a project, I'm grabbing some thread here, that was not taxing at all, right? At all. So I'm going to use KO and brown so you can see this. And some of you, if you've been watching Bead Shop Lives for a while, are familiar with this is the even count peyote in the round. We also do peyote flat. You can check out Emily's projects for these and these. These are called, Janice and Gita will link these here. These are, I think this is in the For the Guys collection, these guys here. So, but you'll find them. It's also probably under seed bead stitches. So yeah, let me just keep going here. And so this is a super easy, if you haven't been able to conquer peyote stitch, this will be a good, simple one for you. That KO, it's better. You can see the thread. So I did wax and I reeled off, I don't know, maybe a yard of thread. So we're just going to do that. Now, I'm going to do these in kind of a multicolor. I'm not going to really pay attention to the colors that I'm going to use. Okay. I'm just going to pay attention to the stitch. Let me kind of clear the decks a little bit so it's a little less visually jarring. Yeah, thankfully I didn't lose my sense of taste or smell or nothing. I had hardly any symptoms. I was just tired as all get out. So, so when you're tired, I guess you rest. I'm not great at resting. What a surprise. So, but I did it. So, but now I'm on the mend. I'm fine. But thank you, science. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 beads on the needle. Okay, can you see that? There's 6. I'm going to make these like small, so they're fast, right? So here we go. And I'm going to slide this on like so. Let me lift this up a little bit. I think I'm in focus. Someone, Lorraine, you were asking about focus. It looks in focus on my end, but everybody else, let me know what you think. I'll come in and I'm going to slide all of these down. Emily does a little stopper bead on the end, so maybe as a nod to my buddy Emily, I will add a stopper so that my beads don't fall off the end. And the stopper, you just kind of loop a bead on the end there. Okay, so that'll be my stopper. All right. Okay. Are things looking fuzzy? Let me see. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can change these settings up just a little bit. Bear with me here just a second. And I'll check the glass on the camera. So you're going to see a lens wipe on there. I wiped it beforehand, but I might have touched it, so you never know. Hold the phone. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties going live. Hang on, you're going to see this come up. And wipe, 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 wipe. There we go. Okay. Is that any better? I don't know. Maybe my stream, it's looking pretty good. Maybe I'll lift a little bit more. I'm going to have to play around with the settings a little bit. I'm going to try and be as close here as good as I can. I'm sorry if we're a little fuzzy today. So hopefully that's better. So here's my 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. The thing with Peyote Stitch is, since I've put these 6 beads on, like so, okay, I've put on, this first row is actually the first 2 rows. So what we're going to do is, the mantra here is add a bead, which is this one, skip a bead, which is this one, and go through a bead, which is that one. Okay? And tighten. Okay? So can you see here now, I've put on that bead there, and I've tightened this up, and can you see I've got the 3 rows, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to continue with that mantra. Add a bead, skip a bead, go through a bead. And since these are only 6 beads long, they turn into like 3 beads long now because, you know, half the beads go on one row and half go on the other. The first row is always a little bit squirrely. So once you get this all set up, it's going to go really fast. Add a bead, skip a bead, go through a bead. And this is the first row that makes the first 3 rows of your peyote stitch. Let me tighten this up. You kind of have to manipulate it. So there we go. Can you see? There are our first, I'll put it on my hand, my first 3 rows right here. So now we're going to go fast. And you can see in every little spot, that spot, and that spot, that's where beads are going to go for the next row. I'll come out this bead, put 3 on, and I'm going to continue up. Okay? So let's do, pick up a bead, skip the bead below it, go through a bead. And I'm going to hold this in my hands because it's faster for me to do it that way. Pick up a bead, skip the bead below it, whoops, I think I put on the wrong bead. Hang on a second, folks. Let me just get this here. I said I was going to go fast, didn't I? There we go. No, that was right. Put on a bead, skip a bead, go through a bead. You just have to kind of keep the tension as you're peyote stitching. For the first few rows, put on a bead, skip the bead below it, go through a bead. Once you establish that tension, it's like a little row of bricks. And see how I'm turning it over? And now I've got that opening right here. Okay, so put on a bead, skip the bead below, go through a bead. Put on a bead, skip the bead below, go through a bead. Let me tighten this up. Put on a bead, skip the, put on the bead, there we go, skip a bead below, and go through the bead. So now we're at 5 rows, I guess. So we're going to keep going with this. Now I can kind of hold it in my hands. And we'll see how many beads we need to complete this. We've got a lot of great learning. Janice just linked it. If you go to the peyote stitch over on Bead Shop, you'll see we've got a bunch of peyote stitch projects. You can just do this flat, right? Can you see how this is just a flat peyote? Peyote stitch is my favorite seed bead stitch, though it's closely followed by herringbone and brick stitch. But for many, many years, peyote stitch was the only seed bead stitch I did. So see how when I put them in, if there's a little bit of looseness there on the left, I pull that bead on the right and then pull it through. Okay, and since these are the cut beads, I want to make sure that everything is pretty tight. There we go. They lay pretty even, but they do give you a little bit of texture on the surface. So here's this. And when you're working with such a short row as this is, the row never really tightens until like the end. So what I do is I pull on that first bead, pull it tight, then I pull on the thread, and I get everything. Though something is off here, I need to pull it out. There we go. The thread was twisted. So there you go. Let me see if there's a new. Oh, there we go. And Janice has this. She says she found the peyote. It's on the For the Guys page, so I was right about that. And these that Sharon did that I put up here, she did those in 11/aughts, in Rocals, and in Delicas. And we were talking at the bead retreat, and she said, "Yeah, I've looked in the box," and I said, "Who made all these peyote stitch beads?" And she said, "Oh, those were all of my practice beads." So she wanted to really practice and make them over and over until her muscle memory settled in and it was fast and effortless. So these don't take a lot of time. You can see I'm going to be done with this tube in maybe, I don't know, 3 more rows. I'm going to check it. Especially with the 8/aughts, they go really fast. And they're fun to just string up. Like you could put one on a leather cord and wear it that way. You could just incorporate it into a piece that you're wearing. You could put these with a bead on the top and the bottom and make a really nice fast stitched earring. They all, it's real easy to incorporate these. If you use those parasol caps that we carry on Bead Shop, I don't have a sample here, But the parasol cap is from Tiara Cast. We carry it, and it's a little cap that has a stem. And you've seen us make the what we call the lantern pendant with them. And so you make a peyote stitch bead and you glue that cap in at the top and at the bottom, and it's a really cool little piece to mount your pieces on. So let's count the rows here. When you count rows on peyote stitch, okay, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then we turn it over. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think I need 14 rows, so I'm going to put 2 more rows in, and let's see what that looks like. I don't want these to be too big, so I want the hole that I'm, when I stitch them together, I don't want them to be that big. So let's check with these 2 more, and I think I actually have to add, so this is 14 rows. Let's take a look here. Tighten, see, I pull that and now pull the thread. That tightens everything up. Let me bring it around. This looks about right. Now I need to make sure that I'm ending on the correct row, and I am. Let me turn this over. So see here, let's take a look at this. Now I'm going to close it up, okay? And if you look at this edge and this edge, I'm going to zip it up, right? So can you see how the bead is going in here and the bead that is its counterpart on this row is going out here? So these beads, this one, and this one, are going to land here, here, and here. And I'm going to stitch it through, and that's going to zip up our little bead. Okay? So I'm going to bring this around. Sometimes it helps. I think Emily's done this before too. You can put something inside it if you want. Maybe I'll use this all. It's a little hard for me to see, but see, I'm going to go through this bead on the bottom. I'm going to come up and go through this bead on the top. Whoops, that's gonna spell nothing but tears, so I'm going to take it out. I'm going to go through this bead on the bottom, and I can really just dash over to that bead on the top. This bead on the bottom, and these beads are just filling in the little spaces. So it's kind of like you're doing a peyote stitch, but you're using the first row as your beads to go on. So can you see how that's a nice little tube there? Okay. And again, if you have like I wanted to do this quickly, so I took it out, but if you put like a skewer or something in there, it kind of helps you hold everything. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back down. See how this is still open like this? So I'm going to come back down and zip this end in one more time. So I have everything nice and tight on this closure. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to come in and I'm just going to weave this end off. So I'll just weave it. Maybe I'll go to this one and this one. Just follow a thread path. I'll go this one and this one diagonally. Now I want to turn the corner, come up. I'm going to make a box with those 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. and then maybe back down one more time. So this is woven off. So I'll get rid of this one. Now I'll take off that stopper bead and let's go ahead and sorry about that, Janice. I was out of frame. I'll show you that one more time. Let me thread this needle. There we go. And I'll do this one more time here. Okay. And I'm going to come in and I'll weave off here. There we go. And I'll weave off there. Turn the corner. Make a little box there. And here. And let's clip that away. Okay. So there it is on my awl. Look at how nice this would be. So bugles. Leslie, you're asking about bugles. Well, I think I've got some. Hang on a second. Hold the phone, madam. Let me see. You all can look at that pretty bead. Wow, I thought I had some bugles sitting here. Let me see if I can grab them. Lay my hands on them. I should never clean up like in the middle of the week, right? I should just wait until I'm done for the week. Let me see. Did I put these? I did. Look at that. I found where I needed them. So these are the number 2 bugles, the turquoise Picasso bugles. And then let me get a different color. These are the black Picasso. These are the check ones. Let's see. We've got a few minutes. Why not try it out, right? So I've got some, I've got some thread right here. So let me, look at how nice that looks. See, it's a little chunkier. It's a little smaller. There's a nice size hole. It would fit nicely on cord. Let me just show that and then let me do that. There we go. So you can see where that is. But see how fast that was? I mean, it didn't take me long at all, just while we were chatting here, right? And if I wasn't doing a broadcast and making a bead all at the same time, it probably would have been a little bit faster. But these 8Cs, I just love them, love them, love them. And as I said, the December mix is coming where we are going to do, it's all 8Cs. I just thought, why not, right? So, so that's what I did. So you'll see some new colors coming. Okay, so I'm just going to put on 4 bugles. This is just a tester. I have no idea if it's going to work. Here's this. I think it will, but here's this. I'm going to put that green Picasso on and go through the black. I need a little bit more of a tail here because I've got to be able to weave it in. So let me pull this. I didn't put a stopper. You could go a little bit longer, but I'm just going to go short because I'm testing. And this is just how I would do it, right? If the idea occurs to you, go ahead and make a test. These age check bugles are on my list of my favorite beads, right? You could do, I don't see why you couldn't do longer beads either, really. I mean, remember Emily just did those berry beads with the bugles. That's looking good. Good job, Leslie, for asking. I think you can pretty much peyote stitch anything as long as the size is uniform. I'm going to give you a sneak peek on something else that I have sitting here because I'm going to start working on the project with it. We're going to start carrying drops. Here's my sad little baggie, but pretend that it's not such a sad baggie. We're going to start carrying the Miyuki drops. Okay. Oh, and Emily's saying you could do a bugle and 0's. Good to know. All right. Thank goodness Emily watches these so she can answer my questions. I wonder if we could, since these drops, the shape is a little bit odd, but I'm going to be playing around with doing some stitching with those 0's as well. Gita is asking for Alfred. You know, Gita, I think I'll try and get him on next week. At about 10:30 our time, he has already gone for his outside walk with Chris. He has done some playing outside with Oliver and Florence, and he's had his second breakfast. Whoops, I put the wrong color in there. Well, we're just going to let it go. And so now he's down for his mid-morning nap. So what are you going to do? If he waddles out here, I'll grab him. Here we go. Yeah, look at this. I'm liking the look of this as well. I think this has potential. Okay. Let me go back to the correct color. Here I'm doing two different colors. And then you just wind this into a loop. Maybe I'd need 8, so this is 4. Let me see if I can put them on kind of quickly. It gives you a lot of length for the bead. I'm putting on that one wrong color is really messing me up. I can't get my mojo back with the color. That's all right. Come on. So one row is one color, the other row is the other color. So now I'm on the black Picasso row. And see how I hold the peyote stitch? I like to hold it in my hand. So I have control over the tension. This is how I do it when I'm doing it in real life. I hold it this way. Okay, like this. So let me do one more row and see where we are. You never know what's going to happen on Free Tip Friday, right? Oh, see, I did the wrong color again. Well, I'm just going to let it go. Once my color routine is off, I can't get it back. This is 6. Yeah, I think I need 8. So let me do 2 more. Let me see. This would be the black Picasso. You have to check these check bugles, or any bugles if you're using them, to make sure that the rim is not cracked. There's a couple in here, and it's just the nature of the seed bead because these are glass, right? That you might come across some that are cracked. There we go. Let me see if I can finish this off on the right color choice. There we go. And I think this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, one more row. Get this there. Oh, come on now. What did I do? This I can't recover from. This I have to take the needle out. I went, I don't know where I was going. I stitched the bottom row. Let me put this back down. There we go. Reset it. Reset, Richburg. Reset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Hold the phone. My mind is going like down the road thinking about closing this off. So I need to pay attention, be in the moment, not work too far ahead in my mind. There we go. So now I can bring this around. This looks right. So I'm going to zip it up. And what I do, you can also just kind of hold it like this, put it through and stitch it, put it through the top one and stitch it, put it through the bottom one and stitch it, and the top one and stitch it. I don't want to lose my thread out of my needle. Okay. Sorry, this bottom thread came out. Bugles are presenting just a touch of a challenge, but I am in control of these beads. I think this, and this is why Emily puts a stopper bead on her work, so that her thread doesn't pull out of her work. So do as Emily says, not as I do. But I think I fixed that. There we go. We'll go back up through the top. And now I'll come back down and reinforce. I'm going to hold that tail between my fingers there. And then we'll just weave off these ends, tighten everything up. There we go. That looks right. And then weave in these ends so they come in nice and tight. And you can keep going in kind of a back and forth kind of situation here. It'll also add some stability to this bead. It's a little floppy. There's a lot of room in the bugles, so maybe I'd reinforce it this way and not use a doubled thread, though I might check and see if I like a thread that's doubled, but I don't know that I will. But I'd have to try it out. There we go. Here's that. Okay. Let me clip. And then, yeah, we'll definitely have some more projects with bugles. Brick stitch is also great with bugle beads. I love how brick stitch lines all these bugles up like little logs, one on top of the other. But this peyote stitch with the bugles is getting my creative mind flowing. There we go, and I'm just going to leave it off there and clip. Let me get my, there, look at that. It's a little, there we go. There's where I put on the wrong colors, but that's okay. There we have it. So you can see what sharing this Moonlight Sonata mix formed into. Okay? So there it is. This is just 4 bugles across. Oh, don't worry about me and the needle. Needles and I are old friends, Leslie. Old friends. Yeah, and maybe Ceylon. So that's a good, someone said, Michelle, yeah, maybe Ceylon would fill the gap. So maybe trying micro Ceylon might be a good thread to use with this as well. I would definitely try that out. I like the sound of it. I like doing seed bead work with the micro Ceylon too. You might have to work a little bit to get it through the hole of your needle, the eye of the needle, but it should work. I want to show you a couple of other things here. We have a few moments. Even if we don't, I'm going to show you. We have some other kind of bead projects coming up, and Emily's working on them. You may remember, folks, how Emily did these netted beads a while back. I've been making some of these netted beads. I have a pretty good size collection of them. And Emily has created some kits for them, some colorways. Okay, and those are going to be launching at the beginning of December. But I wanted to show you these. These are coming back down the pike, Emily's netted beads. And you could do this netting with different beads. They just all have to be the same size. And I wanted to show you, some of you have seen these before, and I've done them for you before. This is Peyote Stitch, but this is Freeform Peyote Stitch as well. Okay, now this Freeform Peyote, you could definitely use bugles. Can you see how I've used Tila beads? I've used super duos here. I'm going to revisit these because I love them so much. And I'll show you, I've got my collection here. These beads that I'm going to show you here, these are probably 25 years old, these beads. But they're a great project to just stitch. And Peyote Stitch, as I said, Peyote Stitch was the only seed bead stitch I knew for, I don't know, 20 years of my beading life, maybe 15 years of my beading life. Okay, but these are just my collection of Peyote Stitch beads, freeform. So you can see I've used some of those cut beads there in that one. I've used some delicas, I've used some 11s. It'll be great to incorporate. I think when we launch our 15s, that's when I'll do this project again. Because see here, there's some jewels, some semi-precious stones in here. And see, this is kind of a monochromatic kind of a piece, but there's a lot going on. There's some old vintage Italian seed beads in here that I've had in my collection forever. There's some pearls. So you can do just about anything. See, this one I did stripes, so I didn't do it as freeform. That one's striped. This one has freeform on there's 2 colors going from 11s to 8s. I love these that are encrusted with the pearls. So Peyote Stitch is really a good kind of basic to know. This one's Peyote Stitch, and then I embellished on the top with some beads here. So we'll revisit this in the new year when we launch those 15s. Yeah, they used to be in a necklace. I'll show you. I had them strung, and I'm going to restring. The necklace was getting a little tired, so I'll show you what they went with. Janice will remember. These here, these turquoise beads, are not actually turquoise. They're polymer clay. And I made a turquoise imitative of these here. So this was all strung in a necklace, and I cut it up, and I'm going to restring it. They're all here in this bag. I did some lampwork beads kind of at the same time. These are glass that kind of went with these. This was kind of a museum kind of piece I was working on, I don't know, for lack of a better term. But there's some more of those polymer clay. There's a wood bead at the base. So Emily's going to show you with the, they're in the kit. It's just a simple wood bead at the base, and you peyote stitch over the top. Okay, so pretty easy. I had some old cupel that went with this. So maybe when the 15s, remind me, don't let me forget. I also had some amber, some old amber to do that. So these little guys that I fit in, I could make like a long, like a real sturdy one of this. I could make this the clasp. I could make a toggle clasp out of something like this for that. So Peyote, I urge you to do a little bit of exploration so you can get your mix. This all started with Moonlight Sonata today, right? You can create your own mix with some of the beads that you have laying around, right? Go ahead and make a little mix on your own, especially if you missed grabbing the mix that I made for you. Pull out some of your beads that are all the same size. It'll be a fun and freeing project. Or if you don't have any 0's, right, you can jump over to beadshop.com. We've got them there in plentiful supply. And pick out, I don't know, I like 6 or 7 colors in my mixes. So get 6 or 7 colors and vary the color, the degree of opacity, the finish, right? Put them into your little bowl, mix them up, and call it a day, right? You probably have some extra tubes, right, that are laying around, so you can put it in a little tube. So these are Miyuki. These are Japanese. These bugles here, these are in Czech glass. Okay, these are the Czech, aged Czech bugles. But we also have the bugles in the Japanese bugles as well. Okay, but there's our little things. And then just start. This is, I make one of these beads every so often and add it. These were the latest ones that I did. And there's a stream. If you look back on our streams and you search for freeform peyote, you'll find this. I did this, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago now, at least. But they're really, really easy. You can't go wrong, you see, because they're kind of lumpy and bumpy. So just you want the tension to be nice and tight. You can see a little bit of the wood bead there, but I can come in and stitch if I want to. Or I could have colored the bead like this as well. But Emily's coming soon with the kits that she's curated for her netted beads. This is also a great way to create some beads. Okay. So I guess that's it. I guess we've arrived at the end of our journey. Let me go here. Um, yeah, they're fun. You can I love them. And they're light. They're not that heavy. So I'm excited about them. Um, okay, so that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Um, I hope you've enjoyed this kind of very free form, free tip Friday. Thank you so much to those of you who grabbed that Moonlight Sonata kit. Don't forget, folks, that you want to jump in and make sure that you're signed up for our newsletter. If you go right to our homepage, right on beadshop.com, and you haven't signed up for the newsletter, please do so. Drea does a great job with them. Starting next week on American Thanksgiving on Thursday, we're going to be dropping a whole bunch of kind of cool, interesting, in my opinion, interesting, curated collections that I got for you. They're based on, and I'll share this next Wednesday. We're going to do Dria's macrame project, but I'll give you a little bit of a preview next Wednesday and who my inspirations were for this. It's kind of a three-part curated collection, as well as we have some two of your old favorite monthly mixes coming back from 2017 to make an appearance. So all that's happening next week. So just a plug for signing up for that newsletter if you have not already. Well, my darlings, thank you for tuning in this week. I kind of like these kind of weird broadcasts where I don't do much of anything but share some random stuff. So thanks you, Leslie, for suggesting those bugle beads. It was fun to make it to make that live on air. So I'll see you next Wednesday with the long-awaited Drea project with the macrame with leather and the rondelles around the memory wire. It's going to be a lot of fun. So have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe. Stay as healthy as you can. I'm going to get a little more rest. I'm like at 95%, but I'm all good. Thank you all, because without you out there, we here couldn't be doing what we love, which is sharing the bead love with you. So thanks, all y'all, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.